Idea of going to psychics for readings, and the whole idea then of us having psychic ability and trying to develop that ourselves in order to give psychic readings ourselves, the idea of astrology and the value of that, numerology, the whole
She is setting up about 10 days worth of discussion here.
But just wondering what of value that is.
Most importantly is your own connection to your own inner being, because that sort of guidance comes forth moment by moment. In other words, there is just nothing that is more important than that. The value of a psychic is the same sort of value as your inner being in a dream state. In other words, a psychic can tap into your energy and know sort of where you're going. If you find a psychic that is very good at it, and there are some that are very good at it. In other words, when you understand the laws of the universe and when you understand that energy in the now is the projection of what your future is, then it is not difficult to tap into what the greater probability will be. But it is only a probability. And so if you are going to a psychic counselor, the way to utilize the psychic is to hear, and if it is good news, then embrace it and anticipate it, and if it is bad news, poke around it with a stick a little bit, acknowledge what you don't want, let it help you identify what you do want, then begin giving fuller attention to what you do want. Many psychics that we have seen involved with others have a very difficult time separating one person's energy from another. And so sometimes you might get a dose of what she was picking up from the last one, or even a little bit of what she is living in her own experience. You are always far better off interacting with your own connectedness, and so we would say by all means develop that to the fullest. Get really, really good at following your own heart, follow your own gut feeling, follow your bliss, and use psychics or even Abraham in this sense for entertainment by comparison. In other words, your connection with your own inner being is the most important, and anything else is far, 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 far down on the list. The advantage of a psychic or someone like Esther in this format is that they can provide an example of connectedness. And an example of connectedness is like Roger Bannister in the 4-Minute Mile. It gives you reason to believe, to want maybe, and to expect. It puts you in a firmer position of attracting on your own, you see. Astrology is, the astrologers that we have witnessed that are interacting with physical beings are far more psychics than they are astrologers. In other words, the really good ones are the ones that are tapping in on the energy in the now, not the ones that are just reading from a book or trying to establish something from your date of birth. If you were able to come forth into a physical body and never think another thought, and we've not met any of you that are able to do that, but if you were able to do that, then we would say the psychic coding or the timing of your birth would pretty well establish who you are going to be forevermore. But since you have the ability in every moment of your day to think and therefore to attract and therefore to alter the future experience, then we would say that we would not put too much upon that other than to let it serve as a guide to help you identify where you are relative to where you want to be. Most that we have seen that are using astrology to guide their lives use it in a very hindering way. In other words, it is much more emphasis upon this not being a good day to do something than it is upon them identifying what they want and talking about why they want it, you see. Now, this is a sort of a tipping of the iceberg, and it is a very big iceberg. Is there something more specific you are wanting about any of that?
No, just mainly there just seems to be so many things. I mean, and everyone has their own pet idea of what is more workable.
Let us tell you the best way for you to sort all of this out. From your place of connectedness, you always know the appropriateness of your connection with any of it. From your place of disconnectedness, you can't feel any of it. In other words, most people seek out psychics when they're really disconnected and really in trouble.
Yes.
And you can't, and there's good reason for that. You can't reach your own inner being under those terms usually. You see.